Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Mystery School. Here we are. Yay. It's Thursday, May 31st. And look who's here, Carl and Ortrun Franklin.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to see
Good
you.
to be with you this evening.
Yes, I think I better go turn off our grandfather clock. I'll be right back.
Okay. And you know what, Carl? As soon as we start, I hit the broadcast button. My neighbor started mowing his lawn. And I have the windows open. Otherwise, it'll be too warm in here. Hopefully, he'll go on the other side of the house by then.
I don't hear any lawnmower noise up here.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. That's really good. Hey, Rob Kendall. I'm so glad you're with us, Rob. Welcome. You ready for the Mystery School? Oh, we can't wait for this one tonight. This is going to be a good show. Yeah.
Rob, you're a good-looking guy, and I like your beard.
Yeah, why not? So, as we wait for our turn, I'll let our guests know that what I'm going to be doing in just a couple of minutes is that I'm going to be using my phone. And for those people who are longtime watchers of the live stream shows now, you know the drill. We're gonna start sharing the show out, and I'm going to ask you a favor, if you wouldn't mind, is when you share it, if you could just share it to your timeline. That is probably the best use of the share, and to a group if you want, that would be fine too. But what we're finding is that, you know how Facebook is. That's an elusive creature, that one is. Just when we get to understand it, they change things a little bit, and they did it again. And so I'm thinking that when we share it to our individual timelines, Facebook likes that kind of stuff. And so it would really be helpful if you guys did that when you did the share and liking. We'd appreciate it. And the reason why we even do this is so that the shows are easier to find in the news feed, because they come up more often in the news feed. So I'm going to turn it over to Ortrun and Carl, and Ortrun's got something special for us.
Well, hello, everyone. It's really wonderful to be together with you every single month. It is. We really love being with you. And this evening, Carl has actually chosen the topic of your human potential. And I will be adding some things to it, but I'm going to really be interested to see what my dear husband has to say, because, you know, this is one he really wanted to present. So, but before we start with the topic, I would really like to have us do our centering, because it's extremely important for all of us to join together in spirit. It's just, even though we're far apart, you know, there's no way that we can't connect, you know, because distance is nothing. And so why don't we make ourselves comfortable at this time as Connie signs on, and make ourselves comfortable and think about the divinity that we are, the divine ones that we are. So take a deep breath. And as you are taking this deep breath, begin to sense that presence of the divine ones that are around you. Those many aspects of you, the many beings that you truly are. For everyone that we call upon, your masters, your guides, your angels, your loved ones, the devas, the earth angels, Mother Gaia, they are all truly a part of us, each and every one of us. So let us invite them in to be present here with us this evening. And as we breathe in their essence, the beauty of their essence that is a part of us, that is them, find yourself drifting into a most beautiful, harmonious space, a place where there is truly that unitedness, the union, the oneness of all. Sense that unity that is being formed here with those that are part of this program this evening. And let's even sense the essence and the presence of those that will be joining later, and those that will be tuning in even later yet to the archives. For they are all part of this family, this gathering, this evening. This gathering of divine beings of light. For who is it that you truly are? You are so much more than you seem. You may see only this outer surface, and sometimes it is hard to see beyond that surface. But yet, if you take a few deep breaths, if you look into the mirror and look into your own eyes as your eyes reflect into yours in this mirror, see what happens. See how it is that you expand. And the outline of this physical being that you are seems to dissipate. It moves outward, it pushes outward, and it becomes energy. It becomes magnificent colors of light. The many reds and greens and blues and orange and violets and indigos. They may seem somewhat dark at first, but the more that you breathe in to this divine essence of who it is you are, sense how those colors change, how they seem to become much softer. And as they become softer, you begin to sense even a pulsation in these colors of light, these different energy vibrations that are within you, moving around you, moving from you, through you, and moving around and forming the aura of light, this aura that is filled with your energy. We are all beings of light. We are love and peace and joy. And as you take a few more deep breaths, sense yourself being united with this divine energy, the divine energy within you. And as you sense the divinity of the one that is next to you and yet even further from you, and sense this vibration of energy radiating through each and every one of us, uniting. We are here together this evening for one purpose: to learn, to grow, to become. One purpose: recognition of who it is that we truly are. So join us this evening in discovering that which is your human potential. And so it is, so it is, so it is.
Thank you, Ortrun. Many people, I believe, when they look in a mirror, they think they're seeing themselves. But I'm going to challenge that. What they're seeing is they're seeing the clothes they're wearing, they're seeing their hair and their face, they're seeing the skin, the outer surface of the body. You don't see the heart beating or the blood circulating or all of the electrical firing going on in the brain. You just see the outer surface. But even if you could see everything within your body, you still would be seeing only a very small part of who you are. We are created according to Jesus, or according to the story of creation in the image and likeness of God. And in fact, it says, God created man in his own image and likeness, and then God repeats himself. In his own image and likeness, God created them. The only point in the Bible that God repeats himself, and the only possible reason he could do that was to emphasize the point. The fact that you are created in the image and likeness of God does not mean you look like God or that God looks like you, but rather it means that we were each created with the potential to allow more of divine essence to express through us than any other creature on the earth. Now, let me back that up with some, I'm going to say, common knowledge. There are somewhere between 1 and 2 million different creatures on the earth, live creatures. But we are the only one of those creatures that has created religion, governments, economies, technology, commerce. We're the only one that can leave the earth. We're the only one that has the power to destroy all life on the earth. We are the only one that is polluting the oceans, the water we drink, the air that we breathe. We are the only ones that are altering the climate on the earth. God is expressing and experiencing through us in so many tremendously powerful ways, not only us individually, but even more so through us collectively. So I'm starting at the end here. This is our potential. Jesus summed it up very succinctly. He simply said, do you not know that you are God? If that weren't said by Jesus, it would be declared by the church as blasphemy. And in days past, you could have been hung up for that. But Jesus did say that. And the psalmist in the 82nd Psalm said exactly the same thing. You are God. And in fact, Annalise Sarin wrote an interesting book by that same title, Ye Are God. Okay, so this is what our potential is, to allow the Creator to express as fully and completely through us as the Creator desires. And the only thing that can hinder this from happening is our not being ready or willing. Okay? And if you want, the closest that I can come to original sin is we have ignored God. We have not communicated with him or her. We have not invited him to use our physical, mental, and emotional bodies to do his or her thing. All right. And that is what our potential is. Now, let's go backwards a little bit. If you're familiar with human DNA, it's a 2-strand helix, and it has like rungs. It's like a twisted step ladder with the rungs being the codons. And our DNA has 64 codons. And in most people, there are only 20 active codons, 44 inactive ones. And the geneticists used to say that the inactive ones were junk. They've now changed their tune. They now recognize that the number of active codons are a measure of our potential. Mm-hmm. And the indigo and crystal children that are coming in larger and larger numbers, they have generally 21 to 24 active codons. And the light workers that I do readings for, they all have more than 20 active codons, 21 to 23 generally. All right. And so our potential is greater than a normal earth person, an earth person being one who evolved here on the earth. In my experience, all of us light workers, we did not evolve here. We may have evolved on inner earth, or in the angelic realm, or in a higher dimension of space, or in the spirit realm, or even in other creations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And our DNA is more evolved and advanced than those that have just existed on the planet. But even so, if you've got 22 active codons, that says that you've got 2/3 of your potential not yet developed.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond my ability to imagine what we would be like if we had 60 or 62 or 64 active codons. It's mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
That is the potential. Now, at this time in history, I don't think we can activate all of those codons on planet Earth, because I think that would take us to a dimension way, way, way beyond what the Earth is currently at. And it's certainly way beyond what this physical body could handle. All right. But in my mind, there is absolutely no limit to how far we can go if it is our desire to evolve, and we're willing to put in the time and the effort necessary to do this. Okay? Now,
May I ask a question?
yes.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because of the codons, the DNA and the codons, is that a third, fourth dimensional thing? Because, you're saying that you don't think that we can reach that, go up that strand of DNA in this, environment, I'm going to say.
Well, it's interesting that you ask, because I've been hearing and reading channel messages for decades that are talking about, as we evolve, we're going to have 12-strand DNA instead of 2-strand. That's beyond my experience. I hear this, but I don't know what it means, because I've never seen it or heard. No one's described it. No one's indicated what the potential that would contain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at this point, I'm only willing to deal what we know and what we've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but know that there is potential beyond the 2-strand, 24 codon DNA. That's what it means to me, I guess, when they talk about these other types of DNA.
But you don't think that we can reach those 64?
Not in this lifetime, not in this present time. No, I think that the potential exists for us to maximize it, but at some point, I'm going to say in the distant future.
Mm-hmm.
What dimension
Neshi,
would we be in?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Neshi, you've got something.
Neshi's got
Well,
something.
actually, I have two things. I have Rob Kendall has a statement here in the chat room that I think is very interesting. He says, if I may, could original sin defined as missing the mark or falling short, be simply an acknowledgement that while we possess the spark of divinity, we are not divinity in its totality?
Rob, I do not think that we have the potential to be the divinity in its totality. And this is my reasoning. I believe that our soul is a microcosm of the creator of our universe. All right? And to me, our universe is being likened lately by the astrophysicists to a hologram. And in that hologram, we are one of the pixels of light. The entire hologram is a huge aspect of the creator. Okay? And each light has the potential, if enlarged enough, or I'm going to say, if frequency is raised enough, to be the whole hologram. We have that potential.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think even the entire universe is not the totality of the creator. I think the universe is the body of the creator. And I think everything in the universe is an aspect of the creator through whom the creator is experiencing itself and having innumerable number of experiences and playing in an energy field that has duality, free will, and curiosity,
Yes.
but is overlighted by the law of cause and effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Now, since we have these 64, right? And science has proven it's there. They had talked, like you said, about the 44 being junk DNA. And I remember the first time I read that, I thought, hey, why would we be created with junk? I don't get that.
Create junk.
So here is what I propose. And I'm not saying that it's not possible. But since we have it and we know it's there, the potential is there, right? I do believe that maybe not every soul, but I think that there are souls that are capable of experiencing more of their DNA possibility in this dimension, and more so as we move up into the dimensions. So it's really our energy, our spirit body that can actually access the information that comes through those codons. Because I think the if you will, the light language that is constantly coming to us all the time, that it can be decoded through our DNA. And some people who may be using, the 21, 23, that they have the ability to reach that information more so than others. I do believe that there's going to be some people in our lifetime, that will have that ability. It's kind of like remember when they broke the what was it, the 3-minute mile, and then as soon as that happens,
Mm-hmm.
other people see it as a possibility.
Yeah.
Right.
And more people do it.
Right, exactly. And I have done work with the 12 strands. The 12 strands DNA is not a part of the work on our physical body. The 12 strands actually get plugged into your etheric bodies and able to bring in more of the universal energy through your spirit body, not your physical body, although we can feel it. But they're not meant to actually plug into your physical body, because that would be like a huge energy overload,
So you don't think possibly that's monitored, so
Mm-hmm.
there's stuff coming in,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just in small portions.
Yeah.
And is it possible, you think, then that like when we have these energies that are coming to us from the higher realms, and so maybe they are coming in that way also, but
I also believe that our Merkaba has our ascension vehicle has a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's more and more people now that have knowledge of their Merkaba, that they have it activated, that it's stabilized. There's more and more people living on the earth right now, more so than it was back in the 70s or 80s.
That's
now define a Merkaba again.
The Merkaba is a vehicle for your light body, and it's used for ascension.
Okay.
Yeah.
Comes out of Drenville and Melchizedek's.
Yeah.
Okay. I just did some dowsing here, and
Mm-hmm.
I asked the question: when Jesus was born, how many active codons did he have in his DNA?
Mm-hmm.
And he was, in my opinion, and based on scripture, 100% human.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer I got is he had 22 active codons when he was born. I asked the question just before his crucifixion, how many active codons did Jesus have? And they told me 26.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now that is one indication that we can activate additional codons while we're in this physical body.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you that in doing my live script readings, one of the questions I ask is, how many active codons were you born with? How many active codons do you have now? And usually they have more now than they had at birth, because they have raised their frequency. And when you hit the frequency of the codon activates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I know that personally, for both Ortrun and myself, we came in with 21 active codons, and we now have 23.
Mm-hmm.
Number of light workers that I have checked have activated one or more codons. And this, Rob, this is, somewhat speaks to your question, is if as we raise our consciousness, we are raising our frequency, and we are moving more towards being a Christed person.
Yes.
And when we hit, I'm going to say, the Christed level of consciousness, which means I'm going to say 25 or 26 active codons, and we activate that many by, in my opinion, becoming one with our soul,
Mm-hmm.
which is the divine presence within us. And as we do that, then when Jesus said, everything that I can do, you can do, and even greater, that will be our reality.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all coming down to levels of consciousness, and levels of consciousness are vibrations. And we do that by the thoughts that we hold, by the emotions that we feel, the words that we speak, and the things that we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I believe that the more that we heal those emotional and physical traumas in this life, right, that we get closer and closer to our original vibration that we came in with. And
How
closer.
many? Excuse me. Go ahead. I was going to say, how many lifetimes do you think you've had with this planet? I mean, how many years have you been with the planet?
Oh, a lot. A lot, because in one regression that I did many, many years ago, it was walking with Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when I wanted to meet the guide or the teacher that has been with me from my soul's inception, when I met this being, there's no gender. It was really more of a silver white orb of light, and that we've been together for, he said eons.
Yes.
So, all I know is I'm here right now in this planet at this time, at a crucial time.
Right.
To see what decisions we're going to make as a human race, and maybe choose differently this time.
Mm-hmm.
Choose a higher frequency this time.
What I was wondering is, with this whole codon situation, because, as Carl said, he doesn't think that we can reach the 64.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a possibility that there were times before us where it was actually reached?
I wish I would have brought my pendulum out, because I think that if we tapped into Lemuria and before, because those races were so far advanced than what we currently are. I wonder if there weren't some souls here carrying more active codons, because I keep going back to, why would the Creator create us with 64? Mm-hmm. Why not create us with 44 or 26 or 48 or what is significant with the 64?
Maybe because that potential had to exist within us in order for our soul, the microcosm of the Creator, to be within us.
Mm-hmm.
And so the soul cannot fully express itself through us, but the more codons we've activated, the more it can express through us.
Okay.
So what did you get with the question?
I got that on Lemuria, the average person there had 23 active codons.
Okay.
I know on that, Carl.
Was there a race here before Lemuria? I believe so. The planet would have looked much, much different. It wouldn't have been exploded apart.
Yes, there was. Okay, I want to back up. Ortrun said she got something different.
Well,
from
I didn't
Lemuria.
even.
What
I
did you
didn't. I
get?
was still trying to get what you said. You got 23, and I was asking about Lemuria. Did they 24 active codons? 24 active codons. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Mine, I'm getting 30.
Wow.
That
Okay.
they were
Was
functioning
that the norm?
and I'm
Is
getting
that
yes, that was the
okay?
norm.
Wow.
Lemuria. So that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if some of these greater races, the ones that because there are so many hidden, I'm going to say, things that are going to be coming forth that can be for us to grow even more, and they became hidden because things started going in a downward spiral, and so it makes me wonder if they had those tools, and actually these were tools that were brought into Egypt and into the Mayan area and many other places, and the same thing with the Lemurians. They took them to various places and they were used at one point in time, and then they were hidden. And then it was said that they would come up again. These things would be made. We would be able to see these teachings and so on again once it was safe upon the planet. So that's why I'm wondering if there wasn't a time when this Earth plane, ask this, Carl, was there a time that there were beings functioning upon planet Earth with 64 codons?
I'm getting a no.
Okay, and I'm getting a yes. So, okay.
So maybe they were female that were.
Yeah, and
right. I want to ask: were there beings that came to this planet who, at one point, had functioned with all 64 codons?
I believe
there's a yes on that.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Yeah. Right.
An interesting thought struck. If you go back 26,000 years, Lemuria was at or near the height, the peak of its civilization. And we know that we go through a 26,000 year cycle based on the zodiac.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm wondering, and we know that in each sign in the zodiac has its own frequency of energy. Some of the energies are higher, some are lower, some are in the middle.
Right.
And we know that the Aquarian frequency is higher than the Piscean. Yes. And I want to believe that the Piscean is one of the lowest of the energies. Is that correct by what you understand?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to guess that the Aquarian is not the highest, but it's much close to the peak than it is to the bottom.
Yeah. If you were looking at a bell curve, it would probably be more toward the top of the bell curve. Maybe not at the very top apex of the bell curve.
Maybe the second highest frequency. Okay. And we know that we go through this cycle to give us a wide variety of experiences. When I say we, really I'm saying it allows the creator to have a wide variety of experiences.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, as we're moving into this higher field, and we're not fully in it yet, we won't be fully in the Aquarian age, by my reckoning, until the mid 2080s.
Okay. Yeah. We're just babies. We're embryos right now.
Well, anyway, we 2012 was the halfway point in terms of leaving the Piscean age and entering the Aquarian age. So as we move more highly into it, the frequency of the environment in which the Earth lives is increasing. That will assist us in opening more codons.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the plan of this cycle. But I want to believe that the plan of the Aquarian age is for the masses on planet Earth to reach Christ consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Which would be roughly 26 active codons.
Rob is saying in the chat room that there's 64 hexagrams in the I Ching.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thanks.
There's no coincidences.
Oh, there aren't. No.
He's also asking this question: is there a source for this? the various frequencies of the great year?
None that I know of, Rob. I wish that someone, well, I don't know how anyone could measure it. You know, it would have to be channeled information or,
Right.
okay.
Right.
Well, there's something though, Rob, and it was way back when those spiritual videos started coming out. I can't miss spiritual cinema started.
No, it's the spiritual science, the spirit of science.
No, it was
No,
spiritual. They were
cinemas.
They were cinemas.
Okay.
They were
Okay.
movies, they were shows. This was when we were still living in Florida, so that's been probably 20 years at least ago that this was. And one of the very first ones that they showed, and I can't get a hold of it anymore. For some reason, it's not available anymore. They changed companies and it's out of print. And I love that one because what it showed was that the 26,000 year cycle, and it showed how it was the Iron Age and the Silver Age and the Bronze Age, all those different ages. They were all. And the thing is that when you were on the upward swing, you're moving, from the silver into the, I'm going to say, golden age, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when you start circling back around after that 26,000 years cycle, after you've reached the peak, then you start going back down into the silver. So, but the zodiac is within that. So I don't know about that statement about right now. It seems that the Piscean age is, the lowest, like you said, the lowest.
No, it's not the lowest.
Well,
One of the lower ones.
But I think that it's because of where we're at in the cycle. But when you're coming down, it may be very different.
Yeah, and I think we also have to add this little piece of ingredient into this mix as well, is that I believe that the Earth, Grandmother Earth, as a sentient being, she's leading this ascension.
Yes.
And
right.
so her vibration, her field, as measured by the hertz, has increased and is at the highest it's ever been in written history.
Yes.
They started measuring and keeping track. And so here is a possibility, is that as she is vibrating at higher rates, that the door opens for us, her children, because we have to match her vibration for us to even be here. When our vibration doesn't match her vibration, we no longer exist. The physical body doesn't exist. So what would happen is when her vibration goes up, so do ours. And when our vibration increases, we have the opportunity to have more codons activated, maybe not completely in our physical body, because those are hard to hold the energy field for, but it comes through our light body first so that we can hold it for longer periods of time until it reaches our physical body, right? I'm getting a yes on that, is that as she raises her vibration and as ours goes up, we have the opportunity to tap into those codons.
I'm with you. Mm-hmm. We're definitely impacted by the frequency of the Earth, and the changes in the frequency of the Earth are definitely helpful to us in raising our consciousness. On the other hand, as we raise our frequency, it helps the Earth raise her frequency.
Symbiotic. Yep.
Yes, it is symbiotic. And yes, we can exist at a somewhat different frequency than the Earth, but the greater the difference if we're functioning at a lower, when I say we, I'm talking our physical body now. Right. If our physical body is at a lower frequency than the Earth, the greater the difference, the more health problems we're going to have, and most likely the shorter our lifespan in this body is going to be. On the other hand, if we are at a higher frequency than the Earth, we are, in essence, feeding the Earth, and Mother Earth likes that, and it's going to enhance our health and our longevity.
Yeah. Considering our physical bodies are actually made to exist to 150 years old. If we had healthy bodies.
Yeah.
Or longer.
Yeah.
Or longer. Think about that. Half-life then would be what?
75.
75. That would be your midlife.
Yeah.
Oh my. So I can call 75-year-olds young men and young ladies.
Well, you do that anyway, so.
Oh, that's true.
But as what Carl was saying, though, is that, if we are a little bit somewhat, because we are specifically focusing our energies, our attention on our growth, on this spiritual growth, and then we are actually helping to feed a little more higher frequency energy also into the planet.
Right.
So that's really what we have to look at, as far as that's what allows us to have this potential, this human, we'd call it a human potential, but it's really more than a human potential. Mm-hmm. It's because it's an energetic, potential. It's a divine potential, more so than even, I'm going to say, human, because we're dealing not only with the physical body, but in the mental body and the emotional body. But we're also speaking now about all the subtle bodies. We've got all the chakra system that's within us, and all the vibratory frequencies that occur here, and then we've got all the different subtle bodies that are around us, like in the etheric body, which is the communication center between the physical and the subtle bodies that surround us, and those, of course, include the etheric and the emotional and the mental. And there's the blueprint, seeing that spiritual blueprint of our physical body. Mm-hmm. And so there are so many other and they are
complex.
And we're just so much more than we even think that we are. And so we've got all of these vibrations of color that are not only radiating here and working together and feeding the different chakras and the on the minor chakras, major chakras, the sub chakras, the meridian lines, but then we have all this right outside of us too. We've got all these bodies, and they become like your physical, your mental. They're still more associated with the physical body, but then when you move more into that astral body, those become even a higher frequency.
Right.
Just as if we were stepping up, one of the other examples would be going through the chakra system and then moving up into the higher dimension. But this aura that we have around us already has some of that in it. Mm-hmm. Also, so that, as I said, that blueprint, that spiritual blueprint that's sitting there, and which is really a reflection of our physical body, but it can become. This is what it can become. As it's sitting there, so, it's very interesting. And the research I've done on those things is that each one of those links to a certain chakra. Each one of those subtle bodies is actually linked to a certain chakra within our physical body to help to enhance it and to feed it and for it to work together. Right. And the more and more we focus on lifting all of that, the more and more this aura becomes so much more strong, stronger and stronger, and healthy. That healthier, but united. Yeah. Unites with. It's not just only yourself, like the little centering I did, where we're uniting with the others that are around us, but then we come into that space of oneness, with the divine. Yeah, and that is, of course, our soul body is part of that whole equation too.
Well, it always fascinates me, and truly awesome is that we have all of this in our energy body out here, right? Mm-hmm. And we funnel it all through this physical vehicle that we chose to express it through, right? Mm-hmm. And to express the gifts that we came in with. Mm-hmm. That there's the body that we call our personality and all of that, right? It just, to me, it's just fascinating. That's why I took psychology. Fascinating. And that all of that gets played through this physical body. Mm-hmm. And when I saw the title for the show, that's what got me very, it's like, yay, this is going to be a good show. The potential. your human potential, because we have all of this to come through us. As Carl said, the Creator is experiencing this life through us, and I think it's fascinating. Fascinating.
What you just said, the Creator is experiencing through us. You know what that makes us?
Creators.
It makes us the Creator's teacher.
Uh-huh.
All right. And all of the higher aspects of us, we are their teacher too.
Wow.
Okay. Now, I want to change direction a little bit here, if I might, a couple of minutes left. What are some steps that we can take to maximize or to further develop our potential? And Neshi, you mentioned one thing earlier, that is clearing blockages. Okay. Blockages limit the amount of energy and limit the frequency of the energy that can function in and through us. Okay. Some other things that we can do is, I find it extremely helpful to connect with the spirit realm, particularly the spirit beings that are working with and through me, the ones that are helping me. Okay. And to communicate with them, to dialogue with them, asking for their help when needed, asking for their guidance, and inviting them to implant thoughts, ideas, etc., that they want communicated to the person or group that I'm with. Okay, and because they're functioning at a higher frequency, a higher consciousness than I am. And a big step, and I think for me, if I can achieve this lifetime, I would be elated. That is to become one consciousness with my divine soul.
Yeah.
Okay, that to me is at where the earth is today. That is, I believe, as far as I or most anyone can go. And it is, and you can't do that with blockages. You can't do that with, a low self-image. You have to have working out of your heart and mind, and you need to be working out of what we call your high heart and your high mind. And I want to define high heart and high mind. It's the heart and mind of our soul. And if that can be our primary heart, that our thoughts and our feelings and our words and actions come from, we are very close to achieving a Christed level of consciousness.
Yeah, I agree. Wow.
But the thing is that, okay, so we're here on this third dimension. We can, let's, as Carl said, maybe reach 26 codons. And so we have the soul that's actually going along with that. And that's just another aspect of our, of a connection of the aspect, the soul that is part of the heart and mind of the divine creator.
Yeah, and the soul is what connects us to the creator of our universe. Yes.
Yeah, the universe. But there's even more to us than that.
Oh, yes, there are all kinds of step downs to be at the level that we're at here. Right. And the step downs are all higher aspects of us.
Yep. And you know how people talk about past lives. I'm beginning to really agree with Amantha Murphy that not so much past lives, but parallel lives. And that when we do this work, when we travel to go in search of, because we're curious, right? Curious beings, rather than going to understand our past life is to heal, obviously. But I've always been much more interested in the higher aspects of us. Is what is that part of me like in, I don't know, let's say the 15th dimension or the 20th dimension or something like that, is that it gives me something to intend and to shoot for, right?
Okay, can I interrupt here?
Go ahead. I saw you doing something over there. Go ahead.
According to the astrophysicists, our universe only has 11 dimensions. And I think if you get too far ahead, you're not going to be able to understand what you're experiencing. It's too far beyond you.
Yeah.
What I would like to do is I would like to, most all of us star workers, we have a seventh dimensional light body.
Mm.
And I would like to, experience in a meditation what it is life is like for them.
Oh,
I think that would be close enough that perhaps I could understand that,
yeah.
or at least some of it.
Yeah.
But if you get too far, it's going to be so far over our head, we're not going to understand the images we're seeing.
Well, I'm not even so sure that I would necessarily even need to know it in my physical mental mind.
Okay.
That the soul self. And when you were talking about the soul, Carl, I was thinking that for me, that is the real definition of returning back to source, the oneness, the whole.
Yes.
Right? WHOLE. To me, that's the definition of being whole.
Yes.
It's not necessarily just esoteric.
Yes.
There's so many components to it. That's what I was thinking about. Now, I'm trying to keep track of the chat room too. We have three things here. Rob is saying meditation actually lowers our brainwaves frequency, but raises consciousness. Schumann puts us into the alpha state, and he's referring to the Schumann wave, which is a Earth energy, part of Grandmother Earth. Robbins is saying the last 3 sessions of the neurofeedback she's done, I've gone out of body. Each time I get taken to Atlantis. I've even seen the world at peace and oneness. It's been amazing.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
That's
a goal that's a goal to shoot for.
Exactly. And she goes on to say, I've missed these Thursday nights. Last few months have been interesting in a good way. Forget to get caught up after the fact. Love being with like-minded people. Well, we love you too, Robin. Thank you for being here.
Robin. Yes, we certainly like to have you be part of us. But which is a reminder, that you can go back to those different shows that you've missed, and whether you're going to them through, to the to Star Nation's site, or if you go to YouTube. And do you want to announce that so that people, if they want to YouTube,
absolutely. What I can do is I can put the link to the YouTube channel for Star Nations in the comment section, so it'll go with the video. And if you want to see the videos from Facebook about the Mystery School, you go to the fan page for the Mystery School and just click on videos. It's on the left-hand side column. Just click on the videos, and it'll bring up all the videos that are at that fan page. And so you can get all of the back shows that were done from here, the live streams from this fan page. But I will list the link to the Star Nations organization YouTube channel, and that has all of the shows from every single one of the show hosts listed there. So. Yeah,
but if you're specifically looking for one of the hosts,
they're under a playlist.
Right.
So and YouTube, you can click on the playlist for, let's say, for this show, the Mystery School, and you can click on the playlist, and it'll bring up all of the live stream videos recorded from that particular playlist. So.
Yeah. So there's lots of ways that we can get to different things. And also, if you're inclined, share them with friends, because I know, we've got some mailing lists and so on, and people are really grateful that we've sent those out afterwards, because so many people don't even know how to get to really and truly how to tune in. So they like just, when there's something sent like that, and then they can click and then go and see it later. So, so that's all appreciated. And, everyone present here is so sharing their energies and helping to uplift, the programs, and your thoughts and your expressions are extremely important to us, because we'd like it to be somewhat of a dialogue. It is not just us presenting, but you're giving us some feedback also, because, we learn, from you also, because I know that you are all seekers also. And have maybe looked in a different direction than we have. So,
Yeah, I'm impressed with the level of consciousness that
uh-huh.
the people who have commented are at.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're far along the path.
Yes, they are.
Carl, that Rob at the beginning had talked about original sin. What did you think about that? Because
I'll see if I can find it and bring that comment back up.
Yeah, I was the one that initially mentioned original sin, and I don't think there is such a thing. The story of Adam and Eve has been grossly misinterpreted. It's in the Jewish Old Testament, in the book of Moses, the most holy part. And the Jews haven't for millennia believed the interpretation that we have. It was the interpretation of the story of Adam and Eve, or believed by the people at Jesus's time. But that story, to me, what it means that Adam and Eve were absolutely naive, just like we are at birth. And we have no sense of cause and effect, of right and wrong as an infant. But as we grow and mature, we become aware that everything that we do, think, feel, and so on carries a consequence. And it's interesting that in the story, the tree that Adam and Eve ate of was the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is the same thing as duality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and as we move into duality, we have to take responsibility. When we're naive, we're not expected. We don't expect our infants to be responsible, okay, because they don't know.
Yeah.
So it was simply saying that we live in a world of reality, and that's duality, yeah, and that's really what that story was trying to communicate. It has nothing to do with sin.
Yeah.
Okay.
That interpretation, right?
Yeah.
Yes, right. That interpretation. One of the things that it says in Psalms, which I thought was really interesting to sort of conclude this evening, is I have this Psalm 8, verse 1-6. It says, "Man is triune, a being comprised of spirit, soul, and body." So, the whole acknowledgement is even in the Bible, that, and then God breathed spirit into the body and became the living soul.
Yeah.
So, I think it's beautiful. I know, Carl very often refers to the Bible, but there's these teachings are in every different type of philosophy and religion. And it's, like you said, this was a translation that Carl gave of the Garden of Eden. That was more of a Jewish translation. But, these words are there, and they've gone back much further than 2,000 years. One of the things that I always question when people say, to only talk about this is the only way, is so it's hard for me to believe that nobody ever went to heaven before 2,000 years ago, right? I just
or maybe it's the definition of heaven,
Right. So that's where I know that we have been around for quite a long time, and there are other ways, and it is one way, and so are all these beautiful other ways that we can all come to that centeredness, to that oneness.
Neshi, let me throw out a quick idea for another program if you want.
Sure.
Life after death. What happens after we die?
Sure, we could do that one. That would be talk about having the souls that are in the chat room tonight and where they're at and their medicine walk here on Earth. It would be a good show. It really would be. Yeah. Connie has something to say here. She wants to thank you for sharing. And she says, "I remember my life script reading. I have my notes in front of me now. You were so gracious in teaching me what all of these things mean."
Thank you, Connie. Thank you.
And so if somebody wanted to reach you for either a life script reading or the work that Ortrun does, and Ortrun, you might want to share a little bit about that. I will put your website or how they get a hold of you. How do they find you?
And our website, Our Spiritual Ascension carlortrun.com is how they get a hold of us. But we do many things, but the main things that we do is Carl does life script readings, and I have to say that I don't have a really good title for what I do, except I know that it's extremely deep, and people will say it's so much more. I call it a chakra clearing and balancing, but it's so deep. And I was thinking of that particular process that I use when you said you don't really care about the past lives. You don't need to know about the past lives. So when I do this work, I'm not doing it, of course. I'm just a facilitator, and then many come in, your own masters and guides, but then your own healers come in also to be there, present with you, and they then they just tell me where to go, and whatever I see, I can share with you, and hand them what it is that needs to be. Either you no longer need, or it needs to be organized. And most of the time it needs to be organized, because all I'm doing is handing in them energy. It's an energy pattern, and then they take it. And it might be, sometimes we only have 3 healers. Sometimes I'll have 12 healers, depending on, but I don't even need to know what that is. I might get some insight, and I would share that with you, of course. But, and then they alchemically change that energy vibration and then place that back in. And then we have a really deep connective meditation that goes along with it, so that you then become that one that is walking heaven on earth.
Yeah, Neshi, we do a lot of our readings by telephone, so people can call us.
Yeah. Okay.
But you're always welcome to come to our home.
Yes.
Well, I put your website address in the comments, so that others who will be watching the video recorded show, they'll have that information.
Good,
and I just love these shows with you. I can't tell you how much I talked about this in the different shows and the live streams I've been doing in the last 2 weeks. I even shared that I think I'm going to start calling the last Thursday of the month the Star Nation's Elders Day, because Connie has her show. She moved her show to Thursday, the last Thursday in the morning, 10:30 Eastern. And then we have your show at 8 p.m. Eastern at the end of the day. And I get to produce both shows, which I
wow.
I want to make one more comment.
Sure.
Connie and I, we had she had the same teacher as we did in Grand Rapids, which made it, it was very interesting. We never knew each other, but she lived in Florida. She came up to see us, and here we had the same teacher. And I happened to pull out the book that Connie, got her series of her title from, because of the teaching of Nellie Kane. But I just happened to have Nellie's book out just the other day, and looking at the chart, and I know that Connie would remember all this, but the chart of, our whole progression, and I wish I had that in front of me right now. But showing that what we go through, and then the platforms, and further up we go on the platforms.
Sure. Isn't that the way spirit works, though? I mean, that's another awesome thing, is that here you are, both part of Star Nation's, the live stream shows, your show hosts. You write for the magazine. Connie, I have used a couple of Connie's shows as an article in the magazine, and she's seriously thinking about writing more often for the magazine. And so here you are. The elders for our community had the same teacher, didn't know each other until this brought you kind of together, right? And I think it's wonderful. Oh my goodness! Yeah, I
want to thank you. I know that I think Rob was ready to leave, so thanks for
Rob,
being part
thanks,
of the
Rob.
show.
You do
Thanks for everyone else.
Appreciate your contributions.
Yeah. And Robin is also saying thank you, and a great night and all you do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. And thank you too for bringing your insight and your wisdom and the grace to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Neshi, for giving us the opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah. And thank you for everybody who's watching and who will be watching. And you can find us right back here last Thursday of the month in June. And it looks like we have the title or the show description a little bit is what happens after death. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. You guys have a great evening.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We love you all. Feel our hugs.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.